Welcome to TV on TV. I'm State Representative Tommy Vitolo. You're watching Brookline Interactive Group. Today is Thursday, September 18th, and we have a great show for you today. Our guest is unlike most guests we have on this show. Often our guests are elected officials or candidates or people who work directly for the town of Brookline. Today, I'll be interviewing a small business owner who does fascinating work and has a remarkable story. And that is Darlene DiBona, the artist and sole proprietor of Brookline Village's Odyssey Wellness Tattoo Parlor. That interview was recorded a few days ago, and we'll run it in a few minutes. But first, as always, we begin with the news. United States childhood vaccination rates have been declining over the past couple of years, according to an NBC News investigation. Congressional Republicans unveiled a stopgap funding bill Tuesday that does not include an extension of Enhanced Affordable Care Act insurance subsidies, a priority of Democrats. Congress has until the end of the month to pass a bill to keep the government open. President Donald Trump has once again extended the deadline for ByteDance to sell the app TikTok. The Treasury Department has announced a framework deal with China for the sale of the app. The Massachusetts Public Defender Agency, CPCS, hired 22 new attorneys in the last month, continuing to work toward its goal of hiring 320 new public defenders over the next 2 years. The RMV has announced that 62% of Massachusetts residents are Real ID compliant. A new report from the Warren Group showed that single-family home sales decreased 2.1% last month compared to August 2024. Brookline Interactive Group launched a 12-month pilot partnership with The Loop Lab, a nonprofit social enterprise that prepares young adults for careers in media arts. Brookline's Department of Public Health and Human Services is now distributing free drug deactivation pouches to help more residents safely dispose of medication and illicit substances. Brookline was recently named the best place to live in the United States by U.S. News and World Report. So for those who live in Brookline, congratulations. Look, we're done with the news, and now it's time to flip to our interview recorded just a few days ago with Darlene DiBona, artist and sole proprietor of Brookline Village's Odyssey Wellness Tattoo Parlor. Stay tuned and enjoy the interview. And we're back with our interview. As always, we have a pre-recorded interview, and today's guest, a little unusual. Often we do politicians or town staff. It's rare I do a business owner, but today's a new day. And so I want to introduce to our show today, Darlene DiBona Chesko, who is the small business owner and tattoo artist over at Odyssey Wellness Tattoo. Darlene, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Tommy. Thank you for having me.
So we'll get into the details later. I'm gonna plant the seed and remind everybody that October next month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it'll make sense why you're our guest this week of all weeks soon. But look, you're a tattoo artist in a tattoo studio. We know that much. But tell us what you've been doing your whole life. Tell us about yourself.
I've been tattooing for 25 years, and so that's half my life, at least. I got an art degree from Ithaca College back in the day, and, I've pretty much been drawing since I was a kid. So I grew up in Boston. I was born at Brigham and Women's when it was called Women's Lying In over there, right around the corner from my shop. And I was raised in Massachusetts in the greater Boston area until I went to college. So I am a New Englander through and through.
And so not everybody gets into tattooing, and I imagine there aren't very many women who are tattoo artists. So you gotta help us make that transition. How'd you go from, growing up in the Boston area doodling to becoming a tattoo artist?
Well, it's actually an interesting story because I don't know if you were aware of this, but tattooing was illegal in Massachusetts until 2001. I started tattooing in 99 in San Francisco, California, at a place called Sacred Rose Tattoo in the Mission on Guerrero Street. And at that time, you couldn't tattoo in Massachusetts, or you could, I suppose, but it wouldn't have been legal. And once it was re-legalized in '01, I started thinking about, moving back home. So when I was a kid, the only tattoo I was actually really exposed to was my dad's. And he actually got it when he was about 15 years old in Scully Square in what is now Government Center in Boston, before they shut everything down in the early 60s, I believe. And then I was just always fascinated by it. I was always fascinated by the fact that it was permanent, the experience that he went through to get it, the fact that there was a little, I don't know, like rebelliousness there for him because he had to use a fake ID because he was a little young. So he used like one of his buddy's IDs and his name was like, I don't know, Bobby O'Leary or something like that. And then my dad got the word Mario tattooed on his arm because that's his actual name. Just like everything about the story was interesting to me and I was fascinated by it. And that was just like the beginning of my interest and fascination and love affair with tattooing, or the tattoo, just the concept of having a tattoo.
So early 2000s, you come from San Francisco back to this area. Did you open your own shop right away? That seems
Oh
pretty
no.
ambitious for a young tattoo artist.
Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't advise any young tattoo artist to open their own shop. There's so much to learn. But, and the only way that you can really do that is by working with people who are better than you. Actually, that's the one thing I really miss about being a shop owner is that I don't have tons of, and with the work that I do, it's so specialized and I work in a private studio a lot most of the time that I don't get so much the camaraderie of having peers to work with anymore. Or we'll say right now. But I do look
So you
forward
came back from San
to doing
Francisco
that.
and you went to work in another studio.
Yes, I started working at Fat Rom's Pumpkin Tattoo in Jamaica Plain on Center Street. I worked there for a long time. And then in 2016, I opened my private studio in Brookline Village.
So I'm going to say that again. There has been a tattoo parlor in Brookline Village since 2016. And
Mhm.
I don't know anyone who knows that. It's this sort of best kept secret in Brookline in some ways.
Yeah.
And so that's really interesting. It seems hard to be in the kind of a business where, people have choices, and stay in business if nobody knows you're there. So surely someone knows you're there. Now maybe a few
Yeah.
more folks do.
People,
So
people,
people find you, and
yeah.
so the punchline is coming, right? Um, Tell us about kind of the breadth of tattooing that you do in your studio and how that might be different than most other studios.
Okay. Well, I do a lot of reconstructive tattooing and medical tattooing and cosmetic tattooing, in addition to traditional tattooing, the kind of tattooing that I've always done. I moved my business into a private studio for the sake of the comfort and privacy and safety of my clients, because we do such delicate work together that having control over the surroundings is really important. So that's why I have the Speakeasy tattoo shop in Brookline Village that nobody knows about.
And so you talked about reconstructive and medical tattooing. I have no doubt that tattoo artists know what you're talking about, and my viewers don't. Let's be really clear and specific about in addition to butterflies and hearts and the word Mario, what other kind of tattooing you would do in your studio that most studios don't do?
I do a lot of work with breast cancer survivors, reconstructing nipples and areola pigmentation. I work very closely with the trans community, also reconstructing areola pigmentation that's, could have been lost during surgery. And I also do a lot of work with scar tissue, um, top surgery scarring, stuff like that. In addition to those things, I also do phalloplasty reconstruction tattooing, which is really new and exciting, actually, and fascinating to me. And that is basically tattoo.
Post-op trans men.
I know, I'm trying to think of how to
Yeah.
say it. Tattooing.
It's public television, which means you can say anything and it's perfectly fine. Yeah.
So when a trans man goes in for bottom surgery, he has a phallus constructed for him, and after surgery is done, it needs to be tattooed to look cohesive with the rest of his body. So I match pigment tones. I deal with and address any scarring that has happened during surgery. You can't construct a body part without there being some scarring. So we deal with that. I add texture, definition. I enhance certain areas
And
to make it cohesive and natural.
so we talked a little bit about uh, breast cancer and tops. We talked a little bit about bottoms. You just briefly mentioned scars. I want to get into that a little bit more. Um, what kind of scars and what does it mean to tattoo? And do you just make it, make a chainsaw creating the scar? Like, what does a tattoo around a scar look like, and how does that work?
It can be any kind of scar tissue. Sometimes scar tissue, and for any reason from any event. I tattoo a lot of self-harm survivors, covering up scarring that they have outgrown and don't want to see anymore, or something that reminds them of a more difficult time in their life. I tattoo over surgical scarring, burn scarring. Um, yeah, literally any kind of scarring. I also work with the tissue if it's not ready to be tattooed. There's therapeutic needling that I can do to the area to help prepare the skin to receive the pigment. Um, yeah. Any
So
call.
it would seem like the people who come and find you for these kinds of tattoos, um, they're in some point in what might be an incredibly difficult journey for them.
Yes.
Um, Sometimes it's a journey that was forced on them. Sometimes it's a journey they've been longing for a long time and are finally able to take. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm sure that that is incredibly emotional.
It can be. There are a lot of tears shed, mostly happy ones, but
Yeah.
sometimes some trauma uh, memories come out, which is another reason why having the private studio is so important, to give people space to walk their path and just have the space to have their feelings without feeling like they're going to be on display or judged in some way.
And so I wonder, have you, prior to opening up your own studio, were you the friend that people found the shoulder to cry on? Have you always been a sort of an emotional, supportive person? Because it seems like this is a really important part of what you do, um, and and you're embracing it.
Yeah, it is a big part of what I do. And I think that it just naturally developed through me being fascinated with this kind of work. Like you just have to, it's a, you have to hold space. I have to hold space for people to have their experience. And somehow or other, I've been able to do that. And I practice it every day because I don't have the choice not to. This is part of what they need, usually. There's sometimes people come in and they've dealt with their trauma and they're way on the other side of it. They just want to get that scar covered and they're fine. But that's much less frequent than people still sort of dealing with it, and the tattoo being part of the healing process, like
A
the
lot of
final
boxes of
step.
tissues around the office.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, yeah. And I hope sometimes people come back and give you a hug.
Oh, people typically hug me. It's nice. It's always really nice when that happens. Or I'll get, cards in the mail like, thank you so much. I feel so much better in my body. Or people will write beautiful reviews, which is always great. And it always makes me feel really good that people walk out of there happy and feeling more whole.
So for some people, certainly the cancer survivors, this is also part of a medical process. And
Right.
so is this covered? Do you bill to insurance companies? Is this part
Um,
of their medical treatment?
I do not bill to insurance companies simply because I am not able to do that. But what I can do for people is they pay me out of pocket, but my services are reimbursable, and I have all the certification to make my services reimbursable. And so I will give people an itemized invoice and a letter of medical necessity, which is what their health insurance companies require for reimbursement.
Consistent with state law, right? State law says if you're covered for this procedure, federal law, that includes
Yeah,
trying to make things as close to what the patient expects them to look like as possible, right?
right. The law states that if a insurance company has covered cancer removal, reconstruction, and mastectomy, reconstruction, and all of that, that they have to take the project all the way to the end, which includes the tattooing.
Incredible. And um, I've also heard, and I think this is something else you do, part of the wellness. Um, there's some things you can do that don't even involve ink.
Right, right. I mentioned briefly a few minutes ago, I could do therapeutic needling,
What does that mean?
which
Tell us about that.
basically is a way to break up scar tissue. Therapeutic needling is basically getting tattooed without ink. You can break up scar tissue with the needle, the agitation in the skin, and the controlled trauma of being needled in your skin encourages the reproduction of your body's own collagen. And so that helps, that floods the area, that kind of smooths things out and softens the skin. Breaking up the scar tissue does the same thing. And then with the direct channel into the skin, I apply a serum, either a stem cell or a hyaluronic acid serum that fully absorbs into the skin and also deeply moisturizes that area and helps with softening the scar tissue as well. It can lower it can lower a scar's profile or completely flatten it out, depending on how intense the scarring is. And if that's not possible, it can at least reduce the density of that tissue so that somebody could have a tattoo put over the scar to camouflage it.
I see. I see. So this is all fascinating and I'm going to say a little overwhelming, right? It's just thinking about all of these things that you can do and
Yeah.
really help people become the person they want to be,
Mm-hmm.
at least as close to the person they used to be, depending on what their journey is. But I want to pivot. I want to sort of marinate on that and get
Okay.
into I don't talk to tattoo artists all that often. I think it's really just really interesting. And I imagine over your 25 years, you've seen all kinds of people um, interested in all kinds of things and different sort of motivations. Has there ever been a tattoo you said, thanks, but no thanks? I'm not interested in doing that?
One actually happened way towards the beginning of my career, and I didn't feel comfortable working on it. And that was, like on a guy who had just gotten out of jail that had a huge swastika on his stomach. I decided not to do that. He wanted me
And
to
he
fix
want
because he got it tattooed on him in jail and someone messed up a corner of it. He wanted me to fix it.
to clean it up.
I'm sorry, I don't think I can do that for you. Yeah.
And when was that a stressful or a difficult situation?
Well, not exactly. I guess I could have been. And when I think back on it, I think like, wow, that could have gone really poorly. I don't even remember if I was alone in the shop or not. I believe that there was a front desk person with me, but I was the only artist in the shop, and this guy was the last client of the night. So, in the Mission in San Francisco at 10 o'clock at night, with, when you're standing there in an empty tattoo shop with an ex-con who wants you to fix his stomach swastika and you say no, I guess anything could happen. But luckily, that situation turned out fine.
Well, good. Super
Yeah.
interesting.
He was actually oddly like pretty nice guy. And then when he lifted his shirt up and showed me that, I was just like, I just felt like somebody sucked all the air out of my lungs. It
Wow.
was
Wow.
shocking, actually.
So if someone in Brookline, whether or not they're going to come down to Brookline Village, you're at what is it? What's the number on Harvard Street?
68 Harvard Street.
68. They're going to come into 68 Harvard Street over to Odyssey Wellness Tattoo, or maybe they'll go somewhere else. If someone's never had a tattoo before and they're thinking about it, what are some things you recommend that they consider carefully before they dive in?
Well, definitely take a really good look at people's work. Make sure you like what you see. Choosing a tattoo artist or who you want to work with, uh, the work that they produce should be important. More so than just shopping for price. And we do live in a city and I work in a city where there's tons of college kids. They don't have a ton of money for tattoos. If they want to come in and get a little walk-in, like cute thing on a Saturday, chances are they're going to go to the shop that has the cheapest shop minimum. And in some cases, that's fine. But if there's a really specific project that you want to do, and you've been thinking about it for a long time, I think looking at people's portfolio and body of work is really important. And also, if you get a good feeling walking into the shop, if you walk in and you're like, oh, this place is great. I love the art on the wall and the people are really nice, then chances are you're going to have a good experience. If you walk into a shop and even though the work that you saw online was good and you're really, excited to meet this person, if they don't play nice, if they're not kind or, don't have good customer service skills or don't make you feel comfortable at the very least, then I would highly recommend keep looking.
Does it hurt?
It hurts. They all hurt. It's true.
That doesn't
Some,
sound very appealing.
sorry.
That doesn't sound very appealing.
Well, the body does have a way of helping you out during the tattoo process. We have endorphins. Your brain will release endorphins. And there's like a sweet spot where you can withstand it.
And modern standards are not what they once were. This is safe, right? Tattoo parlors are clean and safe and um, inspected.
Inspected regularly. The health department's building is right on the other side of the building where my shop is. So they could literally walk in my door at any moment of any workday if they wanted to. And we know that. So we keep it clean. But I would never have been allowed to open up in a town like Brookline if I didn't dot every I and cross every T with the health department. It just wouldn't have happened.
That feels right. That feels right.
Yeah.
Now I know
Yeah.
your studio.
Very good. We have a very good working relationship with the health department, actually.
That's great to hear. That's
Mhm.
really great to hear. Your studio, there's room for more than one person getting tattooed at a time. So do you have a business partner or how does that work?
Well, no, I am the sole proprietor, but we will be looking for artists to join us soon. I'm in the process of redoing two studio rooms in the shop, and once those are done, I will be looking for people to join us.
Maybe take on someone younger and as you said, maybe young tattoo artists, they gotta learn some before they open up their own shop.
Yeah, I mean, and for some people, I mean, running a shop is a lot. Some people won't want to do that. Most tattooers are independent contractors anyhow, so it might be appealing for someone to be able to rent a room in an existing shop and just do their work there, but not have to run the shop.
Kind of in the same way someone
Actually,
at a beauty parlor or a barber rents a chair.
exactly. Yeah, very similar.
Got it. Got it.
Mhm.
I'm blown away at all the things I've learned in 25 minutes. Um, I don't have a tattoo. Maybe I'll swing by if I get
Now,
brave enough. And really, really something. Darlene DiBona Chesko of Odyssey Wellness Tattoo at 68 Harvard Street. I think I got all that right.
yeah.
Um, she's where she is because she wants to be near the patients who use her services.
Mhm.
And as you said, you also tattoo regular stuff if you want some regular stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show. Folks, as always,
Ew.
I'm Representative Tommy Vitolo. You've been watching TV on TV right here on Brookline Interactive Group. As you know, all of our old episodes are online, so use the internets, go find them, see what interests you, and learn about all kinds of things, including broadening our portfolio, tattooing. Uh, Thanks for coming on the show. And folks, we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. Bye.